Hello everyone and welcome back to another wonderful session in SQL. So in this video we are going to talk about how to create table in SQL. So let's get started into deep. So now we will see the definition of table. So table is a collection of data elements. Table is a collection of data elements in the form of rows and columns. Okay. So let's say this is a table with rows and columns. So whatever we see in this direction, these are known as columns or fields, or we also say this as attributes. So what we call this as columns or attributes or fields. Okay, so let's say this is column 1, which will store the ID. Column 2 will store the name, column 3 will store the city, and column 4 will store the let's say phone number of the any employee or a person. And these are the rows which will contain the records of the table or the information about the person or employee or anything which we are going to store in the table. So let's say ID will be 1, name will be something like XYZ, city, let's say Patna, and phone number whatever 9488 and some about 10 numbers. Okay. Similarly, we will fill the record in second row, similarly in the third row. Let's now we will see these things practically how we will create table in SQL. So to create table in the SQL, first we will have to go inside any database. So in the previous video we had made a database named as test. So we will be using the test DB. So to use that database we will write use test and fire this query. So we will go inside that database. So you can see that test DB is now active. So we are inside this database and we will work inside this. So now to create table, we have to write create table, then name of the table. What will be the name of table? Let's say we will make the table of name employee. Okay, then we will give brackets, and inside this bracket we will give the column names and their data types. Okay, so in the first column we will store ID. So what should be the data type of the ID? It will depend upon your organization. Let's say your company are using employee ID only as integer, but some company also might use as a collection of numbers and alphabet. So if it depends totally on your organization, how your organization is going to keep their data. So let's say we are storing ID as int. Okay. Next, what will you store? The first name of employee. So first name. So what should be the data type of first name? So data type of first name should be anything like a string. So varchar should be the right choice. And inside this, we will pass what should be the maximum length our first name can go. So 20 could be the best choice. Similarly for last name, also varchar and 20. Next, we will store the salary of employee. So what should be the data type of salary? So salary should be a numeric data type and it can be used as float. Okay. Next, if you want to now store age of employee, so is it a good idea to store age of the employee? So according to me, or uh, this will not a good idea that you will store age of any employee or a person, because age is variable and you have to update time to time their age. So it is better to store date of birth than age. So we will store date of birth of employee. And what should be the data type of this? This should be date. Okay. Now, what should you think that first name, what we are storing here, this should never be null. So this should be not null. Not null is a integrity constant which says that first name should never be null. Last name can be null. Salary also should not null, and date of birth also not null. So these are the integrity constant we are giving inside this table. Also, we have to give a primary key so that each row can be identified uniquely. So what do you think is the unique column in this table? So ID should be the unique column in the table. So we will give primary key and pass ID inside this. So now we will run this command and we see that create table is affected. Okay, so to show tables, if we refresh here, you can see that employee table is created. And now to see what inside this table, this will be empty. Click on this button, select a star from employee. You can see that a column of ID, first name, last name, salary and date of birth is now created. So this is the method to create a table. Also you can use this if not exists these things I have discussed in the creation part of database. So you can refer this video why I am using this, because if a table name employee already existing inside the test DB, then this will not create. Otherwise, it will create the employee table. Okay. Hope you have understood the creation part of table. So if you have understood this, so make a table of your own choice so that you can store the department information of a company. So try this on your own. So thank you and do practice. Thank you. Bye bye.